welcome to another episode of Home Theater United. I'm Sam Poston, and tonight I have two guests who are in the middle of setting up their own home theaters. We have Dave Hahn, who's a Home Theater Forum alumnus. Dave, you want to say hi real fast?
Hello.
Hey, and welcome to the show. And we also have Todd Rice, who's one of my neighbors from back up in Jersey. And Todd and I have talked about his build for, going on a couple years now. And he's just getting kicked off. Todd, you want to say hi too?
Yes. Hello, everyone.
Welcome to both of you guys. I'm going to do a little talk about some things going on with my home theater and the podcast, and I'll have you guys back on in just a second. But welcome to the show, and we'll get to you guys in just a minute. So first off, I was super excited tonight to have the Rodecaster 2 by Rode as the technology backing this podcast. And boy, oh boy, has it been a absolute disaster of a launch for me. It's got some really, really cool features. I can do things like all kinds of dumb buttons, and I can set up my voice to
a bunch of different sounds, and I can eat myself, so it's got the possibility
that it'll turn around sometime soon. But boy, man, the actual setup of this thing's been an absolute disaster. So I'm not going to play with any of those toys tonight after here, and I will apologize for all that goofiness. But hopefully we get that set up and running, and we can have some better sound effects for things like our spoiler alert, which many of you guys might know that Todd created our original spoiler alert song. So thank you for that, Todd. And let's see what else. I've got the LG G2 up and running. That's been absolutely great, although there's some frustration getting HGIG HDR working on it. And boy, I've been in the middle of almost a fight over at AVS on that. But shout out to Classy Tech for noting that it got fixed and up and running, and I'm looking forward to making all my video games look the best that they can. So with that, I'm gonna bring our guests back, and let's talk about your guys' experiences. Let's start with you, Todd. Can you just tell us a little bit about your build and where you are with your setup?
Sure. So as Sam knows, my wife and I we're moving homes. We're downsizing. We're preparing for retirement. And along with that gave us an opportunity to remodel the house that we're going to be moving into. Sam came over, I guess last August, and we did some measurements in the basement, talked about some initial things, some planning. And I also have plans to do pretty good setup in the living room area. And a little background, the house I currently live in was built in like 1897. So it's about 125 years old. So the rooms are very small, not a lot of room to do stuff. And what I currently have there is a 46-inch Samsung, which is about 10 years old. So it's not smart, no capability for apps and anything. It's very limited on what I could do. And I just had a mishmash of speakers that I've collected over the years. I had Bose 161s for my left and right and rear speakers, and in the center channel was a Pope speaker, and the only reason I picked that is because it fit the space in the television cabinet, and I have a Sony subwoofer.
Mm-hmm. So you got a real mutt there.
Yeah, go ahead.
You've got a real mutt.
Right, yeah, and I upgraded the amp last year, 2 years ago, with Sam's recommendation. I'm using a Denon amp, which is pretty good, and
Nice.
and did increase the quality of sound.
And that's upstairs, right? That's not in your actual basement build yet, right?
No, that's not in the basement build yet. So so I have two builds planned, right? The living room, which is the focus right now,
Mm-hmm.
the main living area, and I know I'm probably going to get some pitchforks from Sam.
Never.
So the television upgrade is a huge technology. I'm going to go with a 77-inch LG OLED,
Nice.
of course, smart. I just ordered that. It's supposed to be here. It's Monday now when we're recording this. It's supposed to be here on Wednesday.
Nice. Which model?
So I got, let me see here. I got the C1 series.
Okay.
It's a 2021
Mhm.
model. It just got heavily discounted, so I jumped on it. I saved about, I don't know, $600
Yep.
by waiting.
That's the way
Sam
to
knows
do
it. Yeah, I'm not an early adopter. I'll sit back and wait, and I'm always looking for a bargain. And then with the sound system, here's where I might get the pitchforks because I know how Sam feels about it. I am going to go with the a Sonos system, wireless.
Mm.
Yeah, and the reason I did that, right? Now I had a real mud of a system at the current house, and I wanted everything to be the same. You know, I researched. I had a build in my mind at one time for in-wall speakers. There was a couple things my wife and I talked about. One thing she didn't want was a multitude of wires, and you know, even if I run that through the walls, right, I still have to have connections in the walls to connect to a speaker, especially the real speakers. And you know, then I'm up in the attic, and I just decided for convenience I wanted to go with a system where everything was the same, so I didn't have to worry about, you know, differences in sound, that would work together. And then in the future, if I have to swap stuff out, I don't have to worry about, all right, will the new left, center, and right channels fit in the wall? You know, those kinds of concerns. Am I going to be doing major construction again when I upgrade in 10 or 15 years?
Okay,
So
so
that was really a driving force.
so with that Sonos, it's not completely wireless because you still have to power them, right?
Right, you have to power, yeah, all the speakers, but the center channel, what I went with was the, what do they call it? It's the immersive set with the ARC. So it comes with the subwoofer. The two rear channels, yeah, they will have to plug in. But the sound bar, the ARC, has Dolby technology in it. You know, it's supposed to fire up into the ceiling to give us,
Sure,
you
a
know,
little.
those effects.
Yeah.
And the thing with Sonos, right, it has a lot of technology in it to like kind of read the room and tune using the software within to tune to the room. So we'll see how that works out.
All right, well, here's what I promise you, Todd. No pitchworks from me, but you are going to have to demo and learn me on that because I don't know anything at all about that technology. So it sounds cool, and you're going to be the early adopter on this one. So good luck.
Right, and the next time you're up to visit, you know, you're certainly welcome to come over, and we'll run it through its paces.
Okay, it's a deal. So
Okay.
tell me where you're at, Dave. I know that you had an existing system for the longest time. What's going on with you?
Well, everything has been replaced.
Okay.
I had projector, and you know, back in the day, I had the projector and an Oppo DVD player, and I could pixel match with the projector, and that, you know, 20 years ago was a big deal.
Sure.
And I had a really good Denon AVR, you know, near top of the line AVR and SVS sub, and so things were good, you know. And Ascend Acoustics, the CBM 170s, which were legendary, and they were nice speakers. But you know, after 20 years, well, after about 15 years, I went through 2 projectors, and then finally I was like, I'm gonna wait, because it was kind of HD was coming in, and I wanted to wait. So I got a 50-inch 1080i flat screen, and then my AVR gave out, and again I wasn't ready. I just got a very inexpensive Denon. So the time came, and I decided it was time, because there was a lot of good stuff that was streaming, and I wanted to see that in good quality. And so, to make a long story short, I ended up with a budget display. It's an Insignia 75-inch F30 series. It's a year old. I got it for $650.
Nice.
It's 4K UHD, you know, 2000 display. So read a lot of reviews, did a lot of research. And the review that sold me on it was, you know, once calibrated with the new calibration discs, which I can't remember the name of.
Spears and Munsell, maybe.
That's the one.
I bet. Highly recommended.
Go ahead.
Highly recommended.
Yeah, it's not especially intuitive, but you know, I probably did 30 setups with the old home theater calibration disc. What was that? Home Theater Essentials.
Yes, yeah, DVD essentials, something like that. Yeah,
Something like that. So
yeah.
it kind of follows that. So yes, after I calibrated the display and turned off all the silly filters and everything, I got a very nice picture. I'm not noticing any motion artifacts or fallout or anything. So
Well,
very happy.
that's awesome. I'll say a couple things about that. One, Spears and Munsell has a new 4K disc coming out. I think it may be available on their website already. If not, it's going to be soon. I know it's not on Amazon because I've been watching for that.
Okay.
Two, you are besides being a Home Theater Forum alumni, you are also a Scooter Palooza alumni, in which that's where you and I previously met, right?
That's right.
And so Scooter is sadly missed, and pour one out for him. And
God rest his soul.
yeah, man, what a guy! What an absolute champion of this hobby, and guy that just could be infectious with his enthusiasm for this.
Absolutely.
So I've definitely tried to carry that on. I definitely feel he's been an inspiration for the show. I know when we went up to visit Jeremy Kipnis with the $6 million theater, that scooter came alive, and I thought he was a broadcast like a news person, that he was born to do that. And it was like a 1 hour masterclass in learning how to talk about this stuff, and I have tried my best to live up to that legacy. The third thing I'll say is there is absolutely no shame in having budget panels. I've helped many friends and family install them in their home. I have not put one in my house, but with the exception of the Vizio P series, which is, I guess, they're premium, but Vizio's still not a premium. It's the premium
Right.
product from a non-premium brand. And boy, man, I tell you, just a middle of the road panel these days is so much better than anything we had 10 years ago.
That's
I
that's just it. I mean, if I were, you and I used to read and post on the forum on a daily basis
Yep.
in tech and in software or discuss movies. If I were on the theater every day, I doubt that I would have bought anything I bought, because I would have been, as Todd said, an early adapter. I would have wanted the best of the
Mhm.
best of blah, blah, blah.
Yep.
But now, I like my projector. It was 720p.
Mhm.
So this display, first of all, it's like having a projector without a projector.
Sure.
I'm only in a 10 by 12 room, so I mean, it's awesome.
Yep.
And yes, the quality, the display quality, as far as I'm concerned, is more than good enough. It's fine.
Yep. Yeah. I have been frustrated at the rising costs of projectors versus the quality compared to the panels. And
Yes.
the panels are getting so much better, so much faster than the projectors. You tell me that a good projector is 15 grand now, and I'm like, well, I guess I'll buy a smaller panel, and live with it. So we'll see.
I
That
was
these 97s
hoping
are really giving the 120-inch projectors a run for their money. So we'll see
I
how
think
things
so.
shake out.
Bang for a buck.
Yep.
And you've got to mount it and set it up and run wires. And sometimes they can be noisy, and then you have to worry about bulb life. And
Yep.
so, no, I'm very happy. And to continue with my setup, if you want me to,
Sure.
looked longer and harder at speakers,
Mm-hmm.
and ended up with the ELAC debut 2.0s.
Yeah, they're very popular on Home Theater Forum these days. They're a great recommendation. I haven't listened to them yet, but people rave about the bang for the buck out of those, the way that they used to with Paradigm.
Yes, they're very remind me a lot of the Ascend Acoustics.
Okay.
But yeah, they're very quality, good build, not cheap looking at all. But the sound wise, very, very nice. And of course, I got the 6.5-inch for front, left, and right in the center, and the 5.25-inch for the surrounds.
Nice.
And then I got, for me, which is almost science fiction, I got the Atmos speakers.
Oh, and what kind are you doing? Are you doing bounce or you got ceilings?
I'm doing bounce.
Okay.
doing bounce. They're right on top of the front, left, and right. They're designed for it. ELAC, whatever model it is. So I've got, as Todd mentioned, all the speakers match, which we knew back in the day it was important for those tweeters to match.
Yeah, 100%.
And crazy enough, I went back to Crutchfield to read about the ELACs again on Memorial Day weekend, and they were all on sale, 100 off
Oh,
a
okay.
pair. So I saved $350 on the purchase.
You were able to get in on the sale.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah. So that's what pushed me. I was like, okay, I guess this is the one I'm going to get.
It's a sign.
It was a sign. So
Yep.
very happy with that. Very happy with the display. I got a Denon, what was it? S760H.
Okay. Yeah.
Mid-range.
Mm-hmm. It's
much more than, back in the day. Back in the day, it would have been.
It's got Atmos and Odyssey, and if that's all that you need, then that's great.
That's all. It's a small room.
Yep.
75 watts per channel is fine.
Yep.
And I'm very happy with that. I've always had Denon, so the setup is still a pain in the butt.
Yep. Oh yeah.
I mean, but
you've got some history there where maybe somebody like Todd coming into it, is learning as they go.
Right.
Yeah, Sam, when you recommended the Denon speaker, it actually came with a mic along with it that I put out at different points in the room. Oh, so it could read the room even in the old house to maximize, where it's going to send a signal and how. Yeah,
not the speaker, but the AVR, right? You use the Odyssey software to balance out your system.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yep. And so we've had calibrators in, like Greg Lowen, and I think even Adam Gregorich from the forum. They feel that Odyssey is kind of stagnated and could be doing better. But I think for the entry level person into the hobby, and even somebody like me, it does everything I need it to do. And could it be a little bit more laser accurate? Sure. Could it be a little bit more user friendly? Sure. Does it take 20 minutes to do it a couple times? Yeah, okay. But yeah, I am a huge fan of the Odyssey and just letting it, set it and forget it kind of deal.
It works for me. It sounds great. The only time I don't use it sometimes, if I'm doing critical listening on lossless music, I'll go pure.
Ah, okay. But, you mean use the pure setting of the receiver?
Yes.
Oh, so that still uses the balancing of the Odyssey.
It uses the balancing, but it takes all the EQ out.
That's true. Yes. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. I run pure 100% of the time, and it uses the balancing that I've set up, which is all I want from it. Cool. So let me ask both of you guys this, and I'll start with you, Todd. Where did you go to kind of recalibrate? Did you do all the research on your own? Did you follow any kind of forums like Home Theater Forum or AVS or any of the others that are out there, Blu-ray.com or HDDN or any of those guys? Or are you basically, following like magazines or anything like that? Or where did you start?
Yeah, so I did a lot of research on my own, going on the internet, looking at different reviews, going out and listening. Years ago, when I first got into audio stuff, it was more music related, right? Like back in 1987, I was in the Air Force Station in Germany. Prior to that, all I ever had was stuff you bought right off the shelf, right? You'd have a speaker that it looked like it had a tweeter, mid-range, and sub, but it really didn't. It just had one speaker behind the phone. And as I got over there and got with a bunch of guys, I really started learning about good stuff. And, it would always become a debate about, the gain, the power, how good things are. And one guy gave me a really good advice, and his name was Scooter. His nickname was Scooter as well.
Nice.
He said, you can read all the tech data sheets and all those reviews. He says, but just remember one thing, your ears can't read.
Yeah.
He says, I mean, that was the best piece of advice I got. He said, go in and listen And he says, close your eyes and listen, and have them,
Yeah.
switch between the different speakers. And that's what I would do. And the first really expensive pair of speakers I bought were some Klipsch KG4s.
Okay.
And it came down between them and the Fortes. And the Fortes were literally twice as much as the KG4s.
Mm-hmm.
And I took Scooter's advice. I shut my eyes, and they switched in between the two. And I could hear some little nuances and differences, but I didn't hear twice as much money, difference to warrant buying the Fortes. And I still have those Klipsch KG4s. I bought them probably 87 or 88.
Yep.
They still work fantastic.
Sure.
And they're going to be part of my build in the basement, because I want to do a vintage build, for lack of a better term.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I'm going to use, my plan is I purchased off of eBay, I found 3 Klipsch Heresy speakers that I want to use for the left, center, and right channel.
Mm-hmm.
And then my KG4s will be the rear channels.
Nice.
And the basement's going to be more of like a multimedia entertainment room, because it's really deep. It's like 40 feet deep, 13 feet wide. And I just couldn't bring myself to make it a dedicated room,
right,
just for movies, because I just felt it could be so much more.
Are you
maybe a game room, pool table, stuff like that, and it's going to be more music and maybe watching sports down there.
Nice. Are you keeping the bar?
Oh, I am keeping the bar. Yes,
that's important.
That's part of it.
So
they had a bar built in already, so everybody walks in and they say, "You're going to keep the bar, right?"
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm keeping the bar.
So that actually leads me to my next question. Were you able to demo the Sonos before you bought in?
I've been to like Best Buy and listened to them.
Okay, they have them on the shelves where you can listen to them there. I've never seen them out.
The Best Buy around here has a pretty good listening room with a lot of stuff in it.
Is that a Magnolia?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And then they got a 45-day return policy. So
okay, well that's good.
I get it set up if I don't like it. But everybody I know, I've talked to a few people that had them. I haven't been able to listen to theirs in their home, but everybody seems to be really happy with it. So I think I will too, hopefully, because then I don't know what I do if I start back at square one.
Well, the thing that I'll tell you is once you got them installed, and as long as you're happy with it, don't read another review ever again. That's the most important thing. If you're happy, that's all that matters. Don't worry about, what anybody else is saying, as long as it's working for you. Don't listen to me. Don't listen to, any of the podcasters or anybody like that. As long as you're happy, go with it, man. And I love the idea of, having something that is all in one, and, you've got a well integrated system. So I'm looking forward to checking that out at your house.
Yeah. And I also bought, for the television, I bought the mount is called a mantle mount.
Okay.
So I can pull it, it'll come out a little bit and go down lower if I needed to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Or if I needed to, angle it one way or the other.
So we recommend mantle mount a lot at Home Theater Forum. The one thing I caution people is that they had a promotion at one time, and I'm not sure if they still do this or not, but they would give you like a 10 or 15 bucks back if you would post a review somewhere and successfully do it. And we've had people try to spam Home Theater Forum with those reviews, and it's like, nope, we just delete those and say thank you, but no thank you.
I think what they do now is you send in a picture after you're done, and they'll like a before and after, and there's some kind of prize money attached to it.
That's awesome. And again, the technology's awesome. That they have found their niche, and they're a cool company. We've talked to them a little bit, so I definitely approve. I think you're gonna love that. I often recommend Reddit's TV Too High subreddit to people that are mounting things 10 feet up in the air, and it's just crazy. But if you've got a mantle that you want to use, the mantle mount makes a great solution, so that you can slap it up there when you want it to look classy, and then you can bring it down without breaking your neck to actually watch it. So that's great. That I'm really enthused that you found that, Todd. That's cool.
Yeah, that was our concern about having it at the right level, right? We didn't want to be like we were in the first row at the movie theater looking up at the screen.
Yep. So Dave, Todd had a really great piece of advice that he heard, that the close your eyes and listen, and and let your ears be the guide. Do you have any advice that stuck with you through the years, or is there anything that you wish somebody had told you before you started?
Oh, well, oh my God, I learned so much on Home Theater Forum. I mean,
We do have a lot of experts, and they're not
uh,
afraid to
we
tell
do.
you about it.
We do. I mean, I wanted to have the best streaming, and I didn't know anything about streaming.
Hmm.
And I put a thread on the forum, and Todd Irwin and Scott
Oh,
Merrifield were
yeah, they are on it.
able to help me out.
So, which streams did you go with?
Well, I ended up with the 2022 Roku Ultra.
Okay, so that's your hardware. Did you have to kind of narrow down the services to go along with it,
Oh, I've
or
had the services all
okay,
along. I've
gotcha.
got Amazon Prime and Paramount Plus
Okay.
and Disney Plus and Netflix.
Yeah, and so
Uh,
that's, I mean, everything's so wide there, right? If you want it all, you need 10 different services, which again, we are hearing day after day that there are too many services, and I think I subscribe to 8 right now. I'm afraid to even check my credit card bill to see how many I'm going for, cuz I'm invested in the Apple line too, right? So I'm paying for Apple
yeah.
TV Plus and Netflix. God only knows.
Well, I don't know what this.
So are you gonna do discs at all too, or is it 100%
Oh yeah.
streaming? Okay, great, cool,
Yep.
cool.
I've already bought 3, and well, 4. I just ordered the 60th anniversary edition of Lawrence of Arabia.
Oh, nice, nice. I don't know if you know this, but one of our first Hollywood trips, they showed us like the first ever 1080p um, sc- uh, uh, scan of that, and boy, to see that and then go to 4K and everything, man, what a trip that movie's had.
What a trip! I can remember thinking I was in heaven watching that on a 27-inch Sony.
What was it on cropped VHS?
No, it was OTR,
Okay, nice.
but so you can imagine how small it was.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
had to
yeah.
sit in front of the TV,
Mm-hmm.
but it was OTR and in surround sound, so I thought that was awesome.
Nice. Well, that's
Uh,
cool. So, what about you, Todd? Are you cross discs and streams, or are you sticking with broadcast? Where are you at?
Well, so now with the move, right, we're trying to reduce a lot. So
Mm-hmm.
uh, I am on streaming big time,
Okay.
and Sam's been the beneficiary of my downsizing. I sent him a couple of my Criterion
That's
Collection
right. Yeah.
discs,
oh, nice.
Yeah.
and
Some OG
so
DVDs.
even in my attic, I had a laser disc player, and I probably had 30 or 40 laser discs.
Mm.
And some people don't even know what those are, right? And that's my early adopter lesson. At one time, I was the coolest kid on the block.
Absolutely,
But you
man.
know, you had these huge laser discs the size of a vinyl LP.
Yep.
And what I had forgotten when I was looking at these discs, most of them, I think all of them, you had to flip the disc over to continue the movie.
Well, and sometimes you had multiple
And
discs too.
yeah, so I had what did I have? I had The Empire Strikes Back, and that came on, I think, 3 discs. So you had to flip over the one and then put the second one in and flip it over, and then you went to a third disc to finish up the movie. And we thought that was the greatest thing back then. And there was no Dolby stereo or anything like that. It was still just stereo.
Yep.
There was no center channel. I even had Top Gun on Laserdisc.
Nice.
And the other thing that amazed me was how much I spent for those things, because some of them still had the label on them. So we're talking 25 years ago, and those were about $30 a piece.
Oh, I
And I
bet some
thought,
of them were even more than that, Todd.
yeah, and
Uh,
I thought I must have been nuts to be spending this kind of money,
well,
30 years ago. That was
yeah.
a lot of money.
Yeah, I came into the hobby at DVD. I had friends in college who were Laserdisc heads, and I was like, that's awesome, but I'm never going to spend $75 for a single movie. And I
Yeah,
remember
but
I remember my first couple DVDs were between 20 and 30 bucks. I'm like, I can live with it. And it's only gotten better from there.
yeah, and then one night at Sam's house, Sam has movie night every now and then,
Mm-hmm.
and this has been a few years ago. We watched Snowpiercer on his.
Oh no.
So yeah, and I think as a group, none of us really cared
Wow.
for the movie, But Sam says, "Hey, how'd you like the movie?" Like, well, it was all right. He said, "No." He says, "What'd you think about the picture?" Oh, it was good. Sam's got a pretty good home theater setup,
Mm-hmm.
and he said that was 100% streaming.
Yep.
And none of us knew the difference, right? We didn't
Yep.
know the difference from it being a Blu-ray or a high def Blu-ray or anything.
Yep.
It looked fantastic to us. And then because I used to be the guy, I'd buy a Blu-ray and I would say, "Hey Sam, I'm not using this code. Do you want it?" And I would give him some of my digital codes.
Mm.
But
What
then
a good friend.
I started downloading digital codes, and that was kind of laborsome at first because again, you'd have to go maybe to the Universal site and set up account, a Voodoo site set up account, an Apple site set up an account. But now I have foregone music CDs and movies, Blu-rays. I just do everything digital now. I have the Apple account for music, right? So you have access to their library. I would imagine someday there's going to be a movie account as well, right? You pay a monthly fee but that might not be possible, right? Because all the different movie houses want to own all of their stuff and get money from us individually.
Well, you can't do that now, kind of. I mean, oftentimes if I want to find an old movie that I don't have or that's in a box in storage or something, it's usually like, $3.99 for the night at Amazon.
Yep.
Right.
So you're okay with rental, Dave, right?
Yeah.
I don't do a lot of rental, but I know a lot of folks who are super enthusiastic about it.
I mean, I'm on a budget and
Mhm.
I've always tried to get the most bang for the buck. So yeah, I'll wait for Redbox. Absolutely.
Cool.
But sometimes you want to see something,
Mm-hmm.
You have friends over or it's a Saturday night, you want to have a good time. And yeah, $5.99. I don't think that's outrageous. It's better than going to the theater.
For sure. Unless you get a subscription like I do.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. So what do you guys think what do you wish the industry did better for folks like you who are, not enthusiasts or at least not as big enthusiasts and reading forums every day the way that you used to, Dave? What could the industry do better for let's say enthusiast adjacent folks that, know what they're doing but aren't, a 20-year-old kid that just wants to see something on their iPad?
Well, I was thinking for a while there, things got so easy, there wasn't a need for home theater for them. Because, back in the day, the first DVD players and stuff, you had to go into submenus and set stuff up and everything. And then eventually it was all just HDMI.
Yep.
But now, I mean, if you want to get the most out of your stuff, I had to read and calibrate my display. And I had to set up the streaming device in a certain way. And the DVD player, I just installed a HK DVD player. And you have to go in and turn certain things on and switch certain things to very specific modes and turn off other things. And that's, that's a pain. I wish I didn't have to do that. I wish I didn't have to spend hours going through Home Theater Forum and AVS and where else to try to find that information.
Well, I tell you, I consider myself pretty knowledgeable about this stuff, and I've been beating my head up against consumer electronics more this year than any other recently. This G2 trying to get this thing working with modes that it's not, it's supposed to be able to, and I don't think they're as good as others do. Again, I'm arguing with folks on AVS right now, and they're like, "Oh yeah, sure, just wave your engineering credits around." I'm like, "No, I'm just telling you that it's hard even for somebody like me with 30 years of experience. How do you expect, somebody coming off the street to try to figure this out?" They're like, "I figured it out. You should be able to too." Yeah.
Well, did they figure it out?
Well, somebody did. Well, they claim they did, so.
A lot of people don't, a lot of people, I'm sure most people are very happy to take their display out of the box and turn it on and plug in a DVD player and off they go. They don't know that they're picturing stuff and they don't know that they could be getting so much more because it's pretty good out of the box.
Oh, yeah, no doubt. But, those of us, there's the saying, if you know, and I know what it should be capable of. And so, What about?
Oh yeah, I'd agree with both of you. And like Dave's point, right? We pull it out of the box, and a lot of times I assume it's set up to go, but it's not. And then I discover things by accident, right? Going through menus, and then I'll fix something, but I don't know how I fixed it because I've been,
Mm.
clicking on this, I'm opening that box, I'm unchecking that one,
Yep, yep.
and I was like, all right, how did I get the picture to look like this? Because it might not look like this when I turn it off and turn it back on.
Well, the
I,
good news for most folks is if you're doing that and you make things worse, there's always factory reset on
Right?
almost all these devices.
and I have done that a couple of times.
I've done that on a brand new multi-$1,000 panel, man. It's there's no shame in it. Sometimes you get yourself too deep and frustrated and things don't work the way that you think they're gonna. It's a little bit rocket science, you know.
I'm about to do that with this DVD player. I put on Aliens actually, which is probably
Mm,
not the best reference to use, but I wanted to see what a DVD was going to look like.
sure.
And the best advice is to let your display do the picture enhancement and
Yep.
not the DVD player.
Yep.
So I turned off the enhancement, and I was not thrilled
Okay.
with the upscaling at all. A lot of motion artifacts and skin tones. I was not happy. So I went and turned back, let the DVD player do it, and it seemed to be doing a little better job. But I'm not sure, and I'm going to have to read some more.
Well,
Maybe I'll start a thread at Home Theater Forum for
there
it.
you go. Are you still using that Oppo, or you got something newer than that?
No, the Oppo died.
Mm-hmm.
I just got an email from they won't fix it.
Well, they're all
This
about
is
cell phones now. Imagine that. You had the best DVD players in the world,
in the
and you went
world.
off to be the 10th dumbest cell phone manufacturer. I still don't understand that.
They will sell me a new tray,
Oh yeah?
for $30.
I'm shocked at that. I didn't think they were doing any fixes anymore.
So I'm gonna actually, for $30, if I can get that to work again. Those things are selling on eBay for over 500. Not that I'd sell it, but
Mm-hmm.
the audio files are so into that
Yep.
because distortion is ridiculously.
Well, not only that, but a lot of them that you can program them to be multi. They'll get around some of the
Yes.
country restrictions and stuff like that that still exist on the older media.
So no, I have a Sony UBP X700.
Not familiar with that one.
They have the X800, and the X700 is again it's well liked on Home Theater Forum.
Cool.
I guess the one to have is the Panasonic.
Yes, that's the one that I got that lets you do the HDR modes and stuff like that.
That's like 250, 260.
Mm.
That was a little more. Maybe that'll be an upgrade. I don't. But so I'm not too happy with that. I'm very happy with the Roku Ultra. That
Nice.
seems to be working. Although, and you're both from Jersey, so you'll like this. You'll get it. I'm watching the Yankee game, and I'm like, oh, I wonder what it's going to look like with my new Roku Ultra.
Mm-hmm.
Go in. I have a subscription to Major League Baseball because I live in Red Sox Nation, and you're not going to see a Yankee game unless you pay.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I go and I'm watching it on Roku, and it's coming in on stereo. I'm like, it's good. I mean, so then I go to Amazon. I go to the Amazon operating system on the TV, and I go to MLB on that, and it's in Dolby Digital Surround.
Wow.
And I'm not happy.
Yeah.
Well, Amazon owns 50% of the Yankees. So.
Oh, is that the deal?
Well, this is and talking to Todd online. This is the deal with everything. Is depending on what device you use, you're going to get a different stream.
So you're talking to
Video
Todd
and audio.
Irwin. Todd Irwin, you're saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Video and audio. And I guess he's not happy about it. He's been banging his head against the wall. And
Well, and let me ask you a dumb question. Have you considered moving to the Apple ecosystem? Because they've got a deal with MLB and football, and it seems like they're poised to take over sports almost entirely.
the Yankees are the only guys I watch.
Okay.
So, and I'm not a big Apple fan because they're so proprietary.
Yep.
If you get iTunes, you have to use an iPlayer, and if you have an iPlayer, you can only use iTunes, et cetera, et cetera.
Well,
And,
that's not as true as it used to be. You can get the Apple app for a lot of devices now, but yeah, you're definitely on the right track, and you're
well, that's why I
you
didn't go in the beginning.
yeah, sure.
I got an MP3 player and
Mhm.
recorded my own music over and was happy. But
Sure.
Yes. So for me, Sam, that's why I went to Apple. I wanted to
Oh,
be on one platform.
yep.
I wanted my phone connected to the computer, to the tablet,
Mhm.
and everything else. So I guess it's just a matter of preference, right?
And Apple
Again, I think my goal of reduction, right? I just wanted one
mhm.
world.
And
that
Apple
probably
probably
makes it easier, Todd, doesn't it?
yeah.
Yeah.
And Apple integrates best with Sonos more than any of those other platforms too, right?
That I don't know. I hope that's true.
Yeah. We'll find out, right?
Yeah, we'll find out. More to follow, right?
Gotcha. So let me ask you this: what in all of what you've put together and what you've assembled and where you're still going? What's the most exciting part of this? Where's the joy sparking from here?
Is that for me or for
Sure,
Dave?
both of you. Let's start with you, Todd.
So for me, right, it's going to be that first time turning it on a really good movie and doing some kind of demonstration where, maybe like a Top Gun thing where I can hear the jets flying
Yeah,
overhead
the
and
rumble,
around me and
right?
behind me, that type of stuff. I like to be enveloped in the sound,
Mm-hmm.
you know, uh, as close to theater as I can get for the space I have and the budget that I have. And I'm really looking forward to the picture.
Yeah, with a
I'm going from a 10-year-old system, and the one thing I get, like the halo effects when the screen is black,
oh, the
when there's black in the
blooming.
background, I
Yeah, the
get
blue.
like waves,
Yeah.
blacks and blues. I'm looking forward to seeing pitch black.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. I think you're gonna be super thrilled with that C1. I've seen the C1s and the G1s on great price breaks. I tried to talk my sister and brother-in-law into a 77-inch G1. I think they were closing them out at like $2,500, which I thought was a terrific.
Yeah, that's about what I just picked this one up for.
Nice.
So I'm happy. And I had to go 77-inch because my son has a 75-inch, so I just had to go a little bit bigger.
Well, I approve on that too.
Is that an OLD?
The one I'm purchasing,
Yeah.
yes.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, that's the next step up.
Yeah, but you know what? I tell you what. Again, I've got LCDs and I've got a couple OLEDs these days, plus the projector. And I tell you what, man, the LCDs, especially the ones with the lighting kits behind them, the FALDs and stuff like that, they do a nice job. And if you're not a pixel peeper, somebody like me, and again, I'm multiple kinds of colorblind, but I know what I like, and I've got the ability to buy a nice TV every once in a while. The LEDs still do a nice job too.
Well, when that first came out, I thought they kind of looked weird. It was so sharp and so
Oh,
detailed.
the OLEDs?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I hated the first one I saw in the store. I was like, this is
I
the
was,
dumbest thing I've ever seen.
and to watch something, to watch Humphrey Bogart on something like that, it would just be so weird. I don't, you know.
Yeah, we went through the same thing as well, even with this 10-year-old system. Things just didn't look right? Or because our minds are programmed to see things a certain way. And a lot of times, like furniture in the background, it just didn't look correct because it was almost three-dimensional
Yeah.
to my brain. But it
Yes.
was something was
Yeah.
just a little bit off that it took a while to.
Well, it's because
I-
they didn't make these movies
Yeah.
for that
Right.
kind of a consumer. They didn't, you can see makeup lines. They do
Yeah.
these transfers. You can see makeup lines on the actors and actresses. You can see stuff, in picture that the director and the filmographer never thought you'd see.
Yeah. I remember
Right.
watching Patton. We could see the actual fake eyelash, not fake eyebrows he had on.
Yeah.
So, Todd, with your basement, are you still thinking about going projector down there?
No, because we wound up we took out the old
Oh, the drop
thousand
ceiling.
out acoustical ceiling, and we
Yeah.
put in we did insulate in between
Okay.
the basement and the main floor. Um, yeah, and we just thought, well, that's just too much work. And what I might have is some movable furniture, right, instead of the nice, comfy theater chairs that you have.
Yep.
Something kind of easy to move around. So if we want to open up the space for something else,
Sure.
we can do that. And like you said, the monitors are just getting so good now. I couldn't rationalize, hanging that in the ceiling and worrying about bulb life and all the other things that go along with that.
Well, I bet a 77 or 80-inch TV would be perfect down there. I mean, I know
Yeah.
you were thinking about doing the whole immersion thing with the projection, but if you're thinking 2023 for that, I bet you can find. I mean, the 97s are on the market now, and next year they'll be even bigger. So I bet you're gonna find a panel in 2023 that'll work out perfectly for you.
Yeah.
Would you ever go back to projection, Dave?
Yeah, I've had the room for it, and if I thought I was getting good bang for the buck, I would. But I'm very happy now. I mean, you asked the question, what's joyful? Joyful is watching Obi-Wan Kenobi on my 75-inch TV in Dolby Digital Atmos. I
Yep.
mean, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's a lot of joy, right?
I agree, and I still contend we're in the golden age of TV right now. I just looked at my backlog of TV shows that I haven't gotten around to, and I think there's close to
Yes.
20 on there. I just started The Boys. I'm 3 years behind on The Boys, and so I know there's plenty of good stuff. And
Yeah.
with
Well, that's what's great about streaming. You could save stuff.
Oh, yeah.
I'm saving the newest installment of The Expanse for the summertime when there's
Yep.
nothing on.
Yep.
I think The Expanse, by the way, is the best science fiction I've ever seen on television.
Oh, I would agree with that too. I was sad to see it end.
I'm a diehard Star Trek fan, but The Expanse that's Arthur C. Clarke and Heinlein writing that. I mean, that's just phenomenally good. I mean, I've had so many wow moments watching that show.
So
that's a gem. There's a lot of gems out there.
Yep. Yeah, and that's the great thing about still on things like Home Theater Forum is like somebody will ping something and it'll come to the top and you're like, oh, I never thought that was on my radar, and I'll go check that one out. It's
Yeah.
there's so many, and movies that are getting releases today that never had the exposure that they did. So that's where I find my joy is just experiencing things that finally get their season in the sun.
Yes.
So Sam, how do you feel about watching a weekly episode compared to binging?
That's a great question. You know what? We could probably do a whole show on that. I will say that I am a fiend for binging of things that are maybe I don't care about so much or don't want to talk about with others. Like Game of Thrones, I want that to be a weekly episode, and I want to be able to argue about it with 50 of my favorite friends online and off, and see what happens the next week, right?
Right.
Something like Ozark, where I'm gonna just absorb that over a weekend, and I can watch 6 episodes of that, or maybe Mad Men, something like that's that's already over. I love being able to binge that. I think that there are, they say horses for courses, right? The Game of Thrones is a turf course, right? I want that to be, pristine and and to have some pomp and circumstance. And there's stuff that, I can just say, all right, I don't need this to be an event, right? And so Stranger Things, right? That came out all at once. I don't know if that could have been done, if that would have been better. They split the season in half at least, right? So that you didn't absorb the whole thing. And so there's kind of a cliffhanger here, and
I think Stranger Things is very bingeable.
it is, but how much more fun would that be to have gone a week at a time and to be able to talk with people the way that you are Obi-Wan and things like that?
Oh, almost every episode's a cliffhanger.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah,
That
I never thought of it from that perspective, Sam,
where are
of
you?
having the conversations right in
Yeah.
between.
Where do you guys come down on it? Do you like binging, Todd?
So it's kind of like you said, right? Some things I'll binge because so like one thing we got onto was Ted Lasso. I
Oh
didn't
yeah,
watch it
yeah,
until I think the first season was already out, and we got hooked on it and binged, and like, oh my gosh, now we got to wait a year. Um,
yeah, yeah.
and then and I think that's the bad part about it, right? Having to
Mm-hmm.
wait so long
Yep.
after you consume this big meal over a weekend, and then it's a year before you get to eat again.
Mm-hmm.
And one my wife and I are watching right now is The Old Man with Jeff Bridges on FX.
Oh, how is that? I've just seen a couple people
It
talk
is
about it.
fantastic.
Yeah.
And we wish we could binge it, right?
Oh.
Because it right now it seems like it's only a one-off. Like, it's based on a book,
Mm-hmm.
so it might just be, this one-time limited series.
Yep.
And maybe that's how I feel about it. If it's a one-time limited series, I'm all in for binging, but I still kind of like that the old school way of, hey, on Wednesday night or Thursday night or whenever the next episode drops, we got something to look forward to.
Yeah.
And we don't have to wait 12 months, 15 months, sometimes 24 months in between seasons.
What about you guys work schedule? Are you going into an office on a regular basis, Dave and Todd? Let's start with Dave.
I go into I'm a boot fitter and a ski salesman, so
Okay.
I have Mondays and Tuesdays off, and so yeah, I'm going into work every day.
Do you have a
Night.
regular crew that you talk about TV shows and movies with?
Yes. Yep. 2 or 3 of the guys, younger guys, are into the newer shows. Obi-Wan and all the shows. And so we talk about them.
What about you, Todd? Are you? I know you had a long commute at one point. What's your situation there?
Yeah, so right now I'm still pretty much work from home. We haven't returned to the office full time yet. The building I'm in is under remodeling, so it's extended my time. And even once I go back, it's only going to be on site like maybe 2 days a week.
I see.
But yeah, there's a few shows that I watch. I have not seen the final Obi-Wan yet, and I've got friends after me like, hey, can you please watch this so we can talk
we can
about it?
talk about it. Yeah.
Yeah, but I've just been busy lately and haven't caught up with that yet, which I want to. And but then after Dave mentioned it, maybe I want to wait till I get this new television set up
Yeah, I
and watch it
definitely
on
would.
77 inches instead of
Yep.
45,
So
46.
do you guys think that bingeability is increased when you have an office to go to? What do you think?
Definitely.
Or do you think, or would you say that the episodic stuff makes the office, the regular cadence of an episodic thing works better for an office discussion?
It does give you, like Todd said, it gives you something to look forward to. So, I go home and oh, there's a new SEAL team on tonight. That's awesome. So, well, it's the night after because I DVR everything, but
Yeah.
Yeah, and as a group, I know when Game of Thrones was, at its height, on Monday morning, there was a little group gathering, and, we talk about what happened the night before, what we think was going to happen, the next week. So, yeah, it's a big community thing. And with the binging, right, when it's available there all the time, sometimes you don't get to it right away.
Yeah.
Where it's not, but, that weekly episode drop where it becomes kind of like must-see TV,
Yeah.
to borrow a term from the 80s. But it became an event, and it's kind of a cohesive thing socially.
Yep, for
yeah, I
sure.
think that's kind of brought that back.
Yep, for sure. So let me change the topic a little bit. You guys have both mentioned that you're doing streams and downloads and rentals and actual discs. How do you decide which one's which for you? Let's start with you, Dave.
I'm not going to buy anything unless it's a big favorite. I mean, I used to buy DVDs on movies I hadn't even seen.
Yep.
But that were recommended. But now I could see myself buying used Blu-rays of stuff. But the 4K stuff, yeah, I'll probably get the Lord of the Rings collection, and probably was looking at the Bourne collection, certain collections.
Yep.
Of things I know I'm going to watch several times, and a few favorite movies. If Lawrence of Arabia came out.
Mm-hmm.
Bridge Over the River Kwai is out. If they ever do Jeremiah Johnson, I mean, the scenic views in that are just stunning. So,
Sure.
but otherwise, so much stuff is available online that, if I get an itch to see a movie I may watch, only one more time, I don't see a reason to buy it.
Mm. How about you, Todd?
Yeah, so for me, it's 100% digital now, and
Okay.
I still like the bargain hunt though, right? I know, and I made the mistake a couple of times. Like, I bought Black Widow as soon as it came out, and it was $30 for the digital, and then
Oh no.
and then 30, 40 days later, it's down to like
Yes.
10 or $12.
Yeah.
So I've learned I've learned to be patient. It'll wait. And like right now, I sent you a text the other day. The Batman
Yep.
is only about $12.99.
Yep.
However, I've got HBO Max, so I can see it anytime I want.
Mm-hmm.
So why do I buy it? And I normally don't rent because when I look at the rental price compared to the purchase price, sometimes it's only a couple of dollars more.
Yep.
And I think, well, for $2 more, I may as well own it forever.
Right.
But
Or it's a
I may never
time
watch it
shift.
again.
Or it's a time shifter, right? Right. If you're like, oh, if I wait 3 weeks, the rental price and the buy price will be the same.
Yeah, exactly. And the way things are coming out so quickly now from the theater, my wife and I are real selective about what we go see at the movies.
Mhm.
Yeah.
The Batman came out 45 days
Yep.
later. Now I know it would have been much better on a big screen in the dark with the super system, but I thought, wow, for 3 hours, because it's over 3 hours, right? All right, we
Yes.
can
Yeah.
sit home, we can take a break when we need to take a break,
Yep.
get a snack, take a restroom break, that type of thing.
And it's one of the ways to justify the expense of your home theater.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, that's actually a great question. How often are you guys going to the movies, Todd?
So we go a lot less now.
Yeah.
The first movie that got us back into the theater was James Bond.
Okay.
That was something that we
Yeah.
wanted to go see
No
on
Time
the
to
big
Die,
screen.
right?
Yeah, and then we saw Spider-Man
Okay.
and Doctor Strange,
Mm-hmm.
and then we really splurged and went to see Top Gun Maverick
Okay.
in IMAX.
Nice.
But it takes a really big movie now to get us to go out to the theater, and part of it is the audience we're with now. Everybody's gotten so used to being, I guess, at home or watching on screens. A lot of people have their phones going, they're texting
Yep.
during the movie. Like, what are you doing? Why don't you enjoy the movie? And it becomes very frustrating for me with all the other distractions. For me, for all of us, right? Growing up as kids, the movie was a big deal. Going to the
Yeah.
theater was an event.
Yeah.
And now it's not so much an event anymore. People are making comments like they're sitting in their living room watching it. So, I'd rather just be sitting in my living room with a nice sound system and a nice display and not having to listen to, everybody else and seeing phones light up with text
Yeah.
and things.
You about the same, Dave?
I could almost ditto what Todd said. I mean, I will go see a new Bond movie. I'll go see a new Star Wars movie. If there's a science fiction film that's gotten really good reviews, it's spectacular, maybe I'll go see that. Maybe a Marvel, but that's about it. But I live in the middle of nowhere.
Gotcha.
We have a little theater here. It's not like the East Coast.
Yeah.
We don't have really nice theaters with nice seats and really well calibrated video projectors and digital audio
Mm-hmm.
system. We don't have that. So
Yep.
if we had that, I might go a little more often, but not
Gotcha.
much. Again, that's why I have a home theater.
Yep.
Well, and for us, Sam, I was just talking about this with friends yesterday at dinner. You have to plan to go to the movies now because around us, now we do have that's a local theater that's very nice.
Mm-hmm.
But if you go to any of the big chains, you just can't show up anymore and get a ticket. You have to
Yep.
pick a seat.
Mm-hmm.
You have to buy it in advance. Hey, where do I want to sit?
Use an app.
And unless you're a member of their club, you pay a $4 or $5 convenience fee. So it's like,
Really?
You pick your seats, and then you have to pay an extra $5 because they did you the favor of letting you go online.
Yep.
Unless you belong to a club, and then that's another monthly fee, like maybe
Yep.
$10 and
Oh
you
no,
get those fees waived.
it's $17.99 for my A list, but I get to see as many IMAX and Dolby
And
Vision.
it's still going to make you watch 35 minutes of commercial.
Yes,
Exactly,
but
yeah.
I actually showed up late and missed the first 5 minutes of Lightroom, so I was expecting there to be a half hour worth of trailers, and there was less than 15. So I got screwed on that. Just when you plan for it to be a half hour of trailers,
I'm not
they
even
turn
talking
around.
about. I'm talking about Pepsi commercials.
Oh yeah,
Ford commercials.
yeah,
I couldn't
Oh, yeah.
believe it. I said,
Yep.
I'm paying.
Yep.
You made me pay to watch commercials. I can't.
You are preaching to the choir. I've been screaming about that since 1992, and nobody listens
Well,
to
we
me.
started with DivX, and then we got rid of DivX, and we got rid of forced trailers, and we got original theatrical release and decent transfers, and now it's swinging around again.
Well, one of the things that aggravated me after like almost 2 years of not being in a movie theater, they were showing the same commercials they were showing, before the pandemic. Like,
Yep.
couldn't they have made couldn't they made a new M&M peanut commercial?
I was gonna say
you
you took the words right out of my mouth. I gotta say, if I see that M&M blow up one more time,
Yeah.
No, this is an envelope. All right, so last question for you guys. What has been the biggest frustration for you guys? Are you frustrated at all with the state of HDMI, with having 6 different remotes, or something different? We'll go with you first, Dave.
I don't know what's frustrating. I don't have to have too many remotes. The Roku turns on the TV, and sometimes it turns on the AVR, sometimes it doesn't.
There's a frustration for you. The CEC doesn't always work.
But it's just I'm frustrated because I can't tell if I'm getting a 4K stream on video, and according to Todd, you can't really tell even if your AVR is telling you you're getting Dolby Digital Atmos. It may not be real Dolby Digital Atmos.
Yeah.
And I think there should be some kind of verifiable standard or something. I don't know.
Well, I will tell you that is one area that Apple does better than anybody. If they say that it's 4K, it really is 4K, and if they say it's Atmos. But I'm with you. And Todd Irwin has been doing an absolute bang up job of holding those companies to account. If something's not right, he's on it and has been sending them email and trying to get stuff fixed. So kudos to Todd for that.
His thread's frustrated about streaming or something like that.
Streaming frustrations. Yeah.
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's terrible because I looked it up. There is actually a standard decided on by the industry, but evidently nobody pays any attention to it whatsoever. Because they've never, there should be a standard, so you don't have to adjust your tint from NBC to ABC.
Yep.
It should be a broadcast standard, so you don't have to do that, because that can be very frustrating.
Yeah.
If especially again, if you're not in a major market, I'm not in a major market. They may not have the best equipment, or they may just not have the best technicians, or they may be lazy, and you don't get what you could be getting. I saw that in Connecticut, between Connecticut stations and New York stations. The New York stations almost always had a better video feed.
Yeah, for sure. And but the area that you're in, you're still able to get pretty decent broadband, though, right? So trying to go around.
I get broadbands. I don't even watch. I don't have cable hooked up to anything.
Yeah.
I don't. The TV shows I watch are all on Paramount. So.
Gotcha.
I don't even. And as I said, I watch baseball on
there's appointment TV for you. There's no binge in baseball.
No, there's no binge in baseball. And man, baseball is so awesome this year. There's so many good teams.
Oh,
the Yankees are just so good.
Yep. It's nice when that works out for you, and it happens a lot for the Yankees for sure.
I remember the 98 season, I probably watched at least 120 other games.
Wow.
Yeah. 98, 90, since the first World Series in 96, I watched their games. I haven't watched as many games this year. I don't think they have the same cohesion as in 98.
Mm-hmm.
But they're certainly hitting some home runs.
Nice.
Judge is ahead of Maris as far as games played and home runs hit.
Wow. No, I gotta admit, I have kind of declared bankruptcy on most sports, so I'm glad to hear that at least a few of you diehards are still digging it.
Yeah, Sam. So we if we watch sports, a lot of times I record them, I DVR them, so
Oh,
I can
maybe
Yeah.
you
skip
are
through some
binging
stuff.
sports then.
I,
That's tough.
I used to really enjoy baseball as my favorite sport as a kid, but the games are just too long. I
Mm,
just can't take it anymore.
too
So,
many commercial breaks.
but I'm
Right.
sorry, but,
The
back to your
inside the booth has gone way downhill, I think.
Mm,
I'm not, I'm sure you're going to edit all this out, but I'm not a big Michael K fan.
I
I
don't
remember
even know
when
who that
Bobby,
is, to be honest with you. Sorry.
he's the announcer for the Yes Network,
Yeah,
and
like I said, I haven't watched baseball on broadcast in 2 years.
but I mean, '98 season, I think Bobby Mercer was the head announcer. He played the game for the Yankees, so yeah, and the commercials and the metrics and statistics
Mm,
and they're getting away from the game a bit.
gotcha. Todd, you had something to say about frustrations?
Oh, so my frustration is definitely with the number of remote controls. I know I texted you about it a few
Mm,
times. I was going through it, and part of it's my fault, right? Because I haven't upgraded my television. I don't have a smart TV, but so I need a remote to turn on the cable box, which will turn on the TV. But if I want to watch anything on Apple, I got an Apple box, so that's a remote. Then I have a remote for the amp to turn that
yep.
on, so I can get my surround sound. And I even have to use the television remote so I can change the source.
Yeah.
So it's like 4 or 5 remotes. We keep them in a little basket,
Yep.
on a table by the couch. And I run through just to put on a movie. I run through 3 or 4 remotes. So again, I'm hoping with this upgrade that if I can get down to 2 remotes, I'll probably be ecstatic. One might have to turn on the cable, and then
Mhm.
the other one to run the sound equipment.
Right.
But I'm hoping they're all smart enough. I can tie it all in, and maybe I'm just pushing a button on the one remote.
Well, I'm going to be interested to find out if you can even tolerate cable TV on a TV that nice. So my frustration is how poor the quality is, even on FiOS. Just the broadcast stations just do not hold up to the streams anymore.
No.
No, not for me.
Um,
So you
Well,
guys,
yeah, it's funny you mentioned that, Sam, because so a show we like is The Blacklist,
okay?
and we watched it one night I think it was coming on Friday, and then the next day it was like on a digital thing, and I turned on the same episode, and my wife came in. I thought it looked a lot better, right? But I knew what I was doing. I knew I was looking at something different, so you kind of fool yourself sometime with your minds. Oh, this looks better because it's digital.
Yeah.
And then my wife came in and she says, "Why does that picture look so much better than last night?" So it was,
Yep.
like when you stream that movie and none of us, saw a difference. My wife walked in and saw a definite difference
Yep.
over streaming that picture from what we had broadcast on cable the night before.
Yep. It makes a difference. It really does to have good quality sources for sure. So
garbage in, garbage out. That's what
there you
we always
go.
used to say.
Same as it ever was for sure.
And you're right, Sam. It's frustrating.
Well, hopefully Apple comes in and solves Todd's solution. Todd's.
Yeah,
I
you're
think
gonna be
Yeah.
I don't know that anybody could be at the center of everything to solve that multi-remote thing. But I
I
don't
don't
think
know.
even
Does
Apple has.
Omni still make remotes?
They do, and I've tried 3 different ones, and I've thrown them away each time. There are folks on Home Theater Forum who swear by them. I can't. You actually have to be an evil genius, mad scientist to get it all working. I think so.
Another thing you mentioned was like the multiple HDMI and USB standards.
Yep.
I've read that over in the European Union, they're going to force manufacturers to come to one standard.
Yep.
Which I'm not against at all, because
That might help.
it just makes no sense to me why we have to have so many different things. And Apple's got their own Lightning connector thing.
Well, here's my problem with that, Todd.
Mm.
You make a standard like that, and how do you ever get better than that standard, right? So Apple's gone from a 30-pin connector to a Lightning to USB-C. And people complain every time, oh, I got to change all my cables. I got to change all my things. But without those changes, you couldn't, ever get all the goodness that comes from those upgrades. So how do you navigate that? You're stuck in 2022 forever if your country tells you have to keep supporting USB-C or whatever.
Well, yeah, it's a fair point, right? But sometimes I think as a consumer, we feel like they're just changing this to get us to spend more money, right?
As a
I don't think we
technologist,
realize,
I disagree.
we don't realize what the goodness is.
Yeah.
Like every time they change something in Windows, when I'm trying to type a document and they've moved something in the banner, I'm still just typing a document, and it doesn't matter that they've tweaked something, and it's just frustrating on the consumer end. Like you said, when I've got 5 different devices and I got to pack 5 different cables, it's a little frustrating.
Todd, just this once, I'm going to forgive you for talking about Microsoft and Apple in the same sentence.
Okay.
Well, those are all great points, guys, and we will keep our eye on it. But this has been an absolute great conversation, and I really appreciate you guys coming on the show. And I know that you have said that you're going to play a little game with us, right?
Oh, absolutely.
All right. So it's time for good, bad, and ugly. Good, bad, or ugly. So let's see. We got 3 players tonight. Everybody knows where I stand, but you guys don't know each other from Adam. So let's start with you, Todd. What's your good, bad, or ugly
okay
title?
So the title is Measure of a Man. It came out in 2018.
Okay.
And I know you said when we talked about it, it's like maybe we can come up with something obscure. I don't know that this was a real popular movie.
Mm-hmm.
And here's the synopsis.
Hang on one second. First of all, Dave, have you seen this movie?
I have never heard of it.
Okay. Todd, before you give a synopsis, tell us who's the lead actors.
So the lead actor is a young man named Blake Cooper.
Okay.
There's also Donald Sutherland's in it, Luke Wilson, and Judy Greer. Those are some of the names you might know.
Okay.
The young man, Blake Cooper, doesn't have a real long list of credits behind him.
Okay.
But so would you like a synopsis now?
Yeah. Just tell us a little bit about it.
Yeah, so it's during the summer of 1976, bullied 14-year-old Bobby experiences a turning point summer during his annual torturous family vacation at Robinson Lake. Here he meets an older doctor who takes him under his wing and teaches him how to stand up for himself.
Okay, so I'm going to... 2 things. 1, you did not write that synopsis, right?
No. That's the synopsis. Right. That's right off of when I purchased it in the Apple library.
Okay.
So Donald Sutherland's the doctor. He takes this young man in. Not takes him in. He's doing yard work for him while they're summering at this. It's kind of like Dirty Dancing, when people just went someplace for the summer and stayed there for a couple of months. I don't know who those folks would be. I never knew any of those folks growing up. But so the young man is doing work for the doctor, taking care of the lawn, cleaning gutters, that types of thing. But then the side stuff, he has some problems with his older sister. There's a young woman that he has affections for, and then of course you have the townies that don't like the summer people coming in and waving their money around.
Okay, now hold on now, because now we're getting some pitchforks. So Dave, one thing you might not know is that the town that he's talking about, Rumson, is literally the next town over from Navesink, where Todd and I grew up. So you're talking about Navesink and Rumson townies. Now I'm thinking about grabbing a pitchfork.
So I don't think it's actually there, right? It's not. I think it's just a coincidence that the place was called Rumson Lake, because it doesn't look like anything that I am in.
Okay, I don't even think there is a lake in Rumson. There might be a pond.
Well, yeah. Well, there's a river, right? Navesink River.
Yeah.
So
what? Oh, now we're getting pitchforks. Say that again.
Okay.
One more time.
It's not the Navasink River.
It's the Navasink River.
Oh, Navasink. Okay. Well, I'm not from Jersey originally, so
I know. That's how we track you people.
yeah.
All
So
right.
it's kind of the typical coming of age story.
Okay. All right. Given all that, Dave, do you think that Todd found this movie good, bad, or ugly?
I think he found it good.
You think so, huh? So Donald Sutherland is a good indicator that I can't think of too many bad movies that he's been in. Don't know this young man, and you said it was Luke Wilson.
Yes.
Luke Wilson, is he a cameo or is he a main player?
It's not a cameo, but it's certainly a secondary position.
Okay, and
Because he's the father to the young man, and then Judy Greer is his mother. So in a lot of these movies, the parents are, the parents have their role to play, but it's not usually the major role.
Right. Parents just don't understand. All right, I'm going to come down on bad for this one, Todd, and I'm sure you're going to turn my world upside down. Was this movie good, bad, or ugly?
So I actually thought it was good.
Okay.
And here's why. So when I started watching it, I thought, oh, this thing's going to have all the typical stereotypes, turning points, and it did have some of the stereotypes, but there were also some twists that I just didn't see coming. And I don't want to say too much. I'd like to encourage people to see other things. So there was some cliched stuff, but there was some stuff that I was just 100% certain was going to be cliched, and then it went another way. So it kind of surprised me. And Donald Sutherland is always fantastic.
Yep.
In whatever he does. And the young man in it, Blake Cooper, was very good as well. Okay. So I was pleasantly surprised and entertained by it.
And you said you found this on Apple TV?
I did.
On iTunes,
yes. Yeah. In the bargain bin.
Okay. All right. We'll give it a look. All right. Now for something completely different. Dave, why don't you tell us the title of your movie? And don't tell us whether you thought it was good or bad. Just tell us a little bit about it.
Okay. My movie is The Contractor. It stars Chris Pine. Let's see. That's Keith O'Sullivan is in it. He's an uncredited part. Chris Pine plays a special forces soldier who's forced out from the military, and to pay his family bills, he becomes a private contractor with one of those firms.
Sure.
And goes over to Europe and pulls off a job, and it doesn't go well. Come back to the United States, and kind of like every action movie.
Okay. So this sounds very much like the what was the woman that was in Transformers? Oh, geez. Why can't I think of her name? That she just had, like, where she was a special forces contractor kind of thing. Oh, something Fox.
Megan Fox?
Megan Fox, yeah. She was in something similar. And that was actually better than I think it deserved to be. But Todd, I'm going to give you first crack at saying whether this was good, bad, or ugly.
Okay, well, so I haven't seen it, but I'll base on what I know about Chris Pine. I haven't seen all of Chris Pine's stuff, but all of the Chris Pine stuff I've seen, he usually picks pretty good movies to be in. So I will say good.
All right, so this was actually in theaters for like a hot minute, and I don't remember. I mean, I've had a subscription, and somehow I missed this one, which is not a good sign. But I agree, Chris Pine does good work. Sounds like a stuff blows up good movie. I'm just going to be contrarian and say that this was bad too. What do you think, Dave?
You're both right.
Okay.
It was so good it was bad, or it was so bad it was good?
Well, Chris Pine was totally miscast. He looks like he weighs about 150 pounds in this movie. And he just doesn't look the part of a special ops soldier.
Yeah.
He looks like it was a well-made movie, very high production standards, a good script, good acting, good action, good editing. Chris Pine was miscast. He should be like
Captain Kirk.
No, he could be. He could do Cary Grant type.
Oh, okay.
Oh, he would. He could play a spy like Cary Grant played a spy, not like Arnold Schwarzenegger played a spy.
So he shouldn't be like a Bourne guy either.
No, And the movie was, had some action scenes that were close in quality to Bourne. It had a DTSX mix that was fantastic.
Okay. Well,
So
it's been on my list to pull down when it hits like $8 on iTunes, so I will definitely give it a watch.
yeah, this was a $1.50, well, $1.99 Blu-ray rent from
Oh,
Redbox,
nice.
but
Okay. Oh, and the was it a Blu-ray or a 4K disc?
Blu-ray.
And it was a Blu-ray that had DTSX? That's pretty cool. I didn't know they were even doing that.
That's what it was, yeah.
That's great news.
And I
Awesome.
was very impressed with the mix. It was the first new movie I saw on my new system, and it
Okay.
TSX I might be better than Dolby Digital Atmos.
Oh, now those are fighting words now.
Those are fighting words, aren't they?
I do like DTSX, but I don't think it's better than Dolby.
It was more immersive than anything I've heard in Dolby Atmos.
Okay, well, I'm gonna have to listen to this now.
So you're gonna have to listen to this, Sam, because
Okay.
I thought the mix was exceptional.
Okay, well, I like stuff blowing up good, and I like surround sound. So DTSX has not gotten as wide as I would like, so I will definitely spend the $8 to get this. All right, which brings me to something completely different, which is 1967's In the Heat of the Night, starring Rod Steiger and Mr. Sidney Poitier. Have either of you guys seen this movie?
Yes.
All right.
Todd? I don't know if I've ever seen it all the way through.
All right. So, Todd, I'll give you a brief synopsis. Sidney Poitier is picked up at a local police station and hauled in for a murder that he obviously did not commit. And it takes the police about 20 minutes to figure out that he's a policeman himself and not a drifter going through town, as if his three-piece suit didn't give it away. Rod Steiger, I thought, was played by Carol O'Connor in this movie. When I rolled it, I saw
that was a TV series.
So, and it occurred to me afterwards that Carol O'Connor played the Rod Steiger part in the Heat of the Night TV series, which I probably never actually saw, but saw a million commercials for when I was a kid. And I want to tell you, Rod Steiger and Carol O'Connor could be twins if you were to just base it upon this movie. So that was interesting. And I'm not going to tell you whether I thought it was good or bad. So let's go with you, Todd. What do you think?
Okay, so this is a tough one, right? Because it's a classic. But I've seen a lot of classics, after hearing about them for years and years and years, and you go, that was a classic?
That didn't hold up, right?
Right. And I won't name any of those because I know I'll get a lot of pitchforks on some of the things where I go, wow, okay,
Yeah.
I just don't get why this is so beloved. But from what I remember seeing of this, and of course that famous "They Call Me Mr. Tibbs" line.
Yes.
I'm going to say you said it was good.
Okay, what do you think, Dave?
You're going to say it was good.
You think?
It's some of the both actors' best work. It is a classic.
Yep. So Steiger actually won the Best Actor for the Oscar over Poitier, who was also nominated for Guess Who's Coming to Dinner for the same year. The film did win Best Picture Oscar and is universally credited as having advanced the civil rights movement for a number of reasons. Poitier's poise and demeanor in the face of adversity is an absolute role model. About 3/4 of the way through the movie, he actually slaps a white man, which shocked the audiences of the time. And the music is by Quincy Jones, and it literally spawned thousands of copycats by putting blues music and jazz into movies. And as I was sitting there watching this movie, I'm going, is this In the Heat of the Night or is this Midnight Run? Because it could have been the same music and buddy movie kind of deal that was going on. I love this, which makes it such a disappointment to say that the awesome Kino 2-disc pack comes with a 4K of this, which looks great. Still a lot of green. It's a 1967 movie with a lot of night scenes. It's going to be green. They've captured every bit of green that was ever part of this film. But on disc number 2, they have the movie They Call Me Mr. Tibbs and something called The Organization or something like that. And oh my God, I had to turn off They Call Me Mr. Tibbs after 15 minutes because it was a bad episode of Columbo. It was nowhere near the regal excellence of In the Heat of the Night. So,
it's just a money grab.
I don't know what, man. It literally looks like it was off of a Columbo set. And
Wow.
I don't know, maybe Columbo pattern. I don't know which came first, but they literally look identical.
Columbo hasn't aged well.
You don't think so? Yeah.
No, I tried to watch a couple episodes because I loved it.
Mhm.
And
I
it
did
is
too.
very, very 70s.
Yeah.
The
I don't know.
cars, hairdos, the clothes, not in a good way.
I don't have a problem with that. It's just that the structure never changes, right? It's always like, oh, let me ask you one more question, and here comes everything tumbling out.
That work. I mean, he made that work.
Yeah.
I mean, that character is as famous as Hercule Poirot. And
Well, the one thing that I can't talk too much about is that there's actually a subplot in The Heat of the Night. Again, 1967, 6 years before Roe v. Wade, but there is actually a kind of an abortion type subplot that's part of this that comes in almost from out of nowhere halfway through the movie. And it was almost spooky just how prescient it was and how much it relates to today and what the political animus that we've got going on right now. So again, don't want to harp on that and can't talk about it too much on Home Theater Forum and Home Theater United, but it is worth noting that it was on their minds in 1967, and it's a product of their time because it's almost like a ship in a bottle from just before Roe hit, just a couple years later. So it's kind of interesting there. But the whole movie was universally excellent, and I've always loved Poitier. I can't name more than a couple of the movies that I've seen him in, but he's always just a class act and
absolutely class.
Not only classy but also strong and masculine and just a great actor. You can almost feel the rage bubbling below the surface there, despite putting on the brave face on the top of it. And again, that kind of speaks for a whole generation of people, that just to put that all on his shoulders is not fair at all. But he was amazing, and so I really appreciated watching that. Well, that's all I've got, gentlemen. I thank you both for coming on and joining me tonight. But that's going to do it.
Yeah, thank you, Sam. I've really enjoyed this.
That's going to do it for this episode, and I definitely appreciate you sticking through some of the stickiness with the new Rodecaster, but we made it work. We've got our outro song going here now. I've learned a lot, and hopefully this episode is helpful to people coming into the hobby. I definitely encourage you to get involved in Home Theater Forum, and we'll definitely pick you guys' brains at a future episode. You guys have any final words? Todd, let's go with you.
Just thanks. I had a great time. I really appreciate being invited on.
My pleasure having you. What about you, Dave?
Same here. Thanks for having me on. It was a lot of fun. And if you haven't seen To Sir with Love, that should be
okay, that'll be my next one after The Contractor.
Well,
Highs and lows.
And Sneakers as well. Sidney Poitier's in that with Robert Redford.
Yes.
And I also have on my list to watch Guess Who's Coming to Dinner, because I have never actually seen that. So
Spencer Tracy, Katharine Hepburn, and Sidney.
Yeah. All right, gentlemen. Well, thank you so much. We'll do it again. Thanks for joining us.
Can we hang on and talk after this is over?
Sure can. Just go on mute, and when I pull the music down, we'll talk again.
All right, mute now.
All right. Thanks, guys. Good night, Home Theater United listeners. Thanks to our host at Home Theater Forum. You guys are awesome. Thanks for joining in. I had to wait for that one.